Hello everybody, welcome to the second video in this series on my channel where I am opening and reading the books that my sister is sending me on a monthly basis. I explained it at the beginning of the first one, but I'll explain it here too. We came up with prompts for each month, and then we are sending each other books that fit those prompts. So last month, January, was the first book in a series because it was the first month of the year, and this month, February, is Gothic romance because it's February, which is, you know, a month for romance. And I am going to be opening the book that she sent me here live with you so we can find out together what she sent me. I'm really excited for it. I feel like there are so many options she could go with because there's a lot of like fantasy romance out there that I think would fit into the Gothic fantasy vibe pretty well. I did do this research while I was figuring out which book to send to her, so I do know that there are a lot of options out there, so I'm really excited to see what she got. I can feel in there, and it's a paperback. The way that it is, I believe it is a self-published paperback based on how it feels, either that or maybe a UK one, but I highly doubt she got a UK one, so I'm thinking it's a self-published paperback. Other than that, I can't really tell. Okay, let's go ahead. Let's open it up. Ooh, it is Nightshade by Carrie Lake. Now, the package was already open because my husband opened it to look at it because he is the one that has been telling her whether I have the books or not so she can know which ones to send to me. And so he wanted to open it and check and just be like, yeah, okay, I'm pretty sure you don't have this one, which I don't. So thank you. He did well. But, I like... It literally says on the cover, a Gothic romance novel. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that right there? Oh my gosh. That is so funny. I love that so much. And yes, it does look like it's self-published. I don't see the name of any publishing company on here, so that's what I'm assuming. But that is hilarious that our prompt is Gothic romance and it literally says it on the cover of it. Ooh, but look at that cover. It just looks so gothically creepy, but in the best way. Like, I am so excited for the vibes of this book. Okay, let me read the back of it. Oh, this is really long. Maybe I'll read it and then summarize it. No, I'm reading it to you. My father called them messengers. He once told me they walked among us and that somewhere in this dark and godless city there shined a faint sliver of hope. I had only to look for the signs. Well, I've spent my whole life investigating the inexplicable, and all I found are the unsettling vestiges, I can read, of iniquity, the evidence of another world shrouded by the obscure. Purgatory to some, where depravity hides in shadows, and girls like me are little more than delicious bites of temptation. Is this going to be a vampire novel? It kind of sounds like it. Others call it Nightshade. Okay, so is this like a portal fantasy? This peculiar place is where I first met the cold and callous recluse living in a decaying cliffside cathedral. Okay, with the alliterations here. Jericho Van Croy is the epitome of everything I've been told to fear. A raven-winged harbinger who wears intrigue like a warm black cloak. An enigma that I'm determined to unravel, even if it means getting closer than I should. One touch is forbidden, even so much as a kiss would be my demise. But the sin on his lips burns me up like a wild flame, and his growing infatuation weakens my resolve. Okay, is this going to be a little extra? Giving him what he wants, though, will mean no chance for redemption or escape. What's worse is the signs I've followed yet failed to see. The signs I've followed yet failed to see all these years begin to unmask a terrifying reality, that falling may be my only saving grace. Okay, intriguing, but this book I think is going to be a little bit extra, and you know, I'm not mad about it. I feel like if I know that going into a book and I just prepare myself, I'm like, this is going to be very dramatic, then usually it's not as big of a deal. We'll see how it goes. The back, though, kind of has this cathedral on the back, which I'm assuming has to do with his decaying cliffside cathedral. I absolutely love Gothic atmospheres. I am excited about this like fantasy romance here. It sounds like there's definitely some paranormal things going on. So yeah, really looking forward to getting into this. I also love when other people send me like indie author books to read because I feel like it's so hard for me to find them on my own. Like they are on TikTok, right? But I feel like someone has to like almost give it to me. I can't, like, there's not that many at my bookstore, and when you go on Amazon, it's, at least for me, I don't really see the indie ones up there as readily available to find as other ones. I have to kind of know what I'm looking for to get them. So I am really excited about this book. I'm definitely looking forward to it. I want those Gothic vibes. And so I'm thinking I might make a thing of this. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I kind of want to do things to like get myself into the vibes of this book while I'm reading it. We'll see how it goes. Y'all will see, because you're going to come along with me as I do this, and I'll film it, obviously, let you know. But yeah, this is the book I'm going to be reading. I am so excited. I am probably going to be like pulling this over into March. I think I'm probably going to be about a month behind on each of these vlogs, as you probably know, because you're going to have seen my one for the January book like at the end of February. But it's fine. I am okay with that. I've accepted this. But yeah, definitely looking forward to this book. It is pretty chunky though. It's a thick one, but I'm excited to jump into it. I am just waking up in the morning. It is Saturday of my trip. I'm still in Philadelphia. Well, I am in Philadelphia. I guess I am filming another vlog, and so, sorry, I still have my retainer in. I'm filming another vlog, so I'm kind of forgetting like what clips I'm on, but it is now April. I am so late to reading this book. I started it and was actually interested. Like, I was enjoying what I was reading of this book, and everything's been put off. I've been so, like, reading slumpy, which is weird. I don't know why. I'm so excited to read. But I have Nightshade with me, and I have read about that much. Those tiny pages there. And honestly, so far, it's so funny. It's got this, like, the Vampire Diaries kind of feel to it, where it's, like, very over the top and angsty and, like, got that, like, it's dark and there's something going on vibe to it. We are starting off with this girl whose mother is taken away and burned as a witch, and it's very traumatic for her. And then she's kind of taken in by this religious organization. And then we're also, so that's in the past. And then we have like present day where we're following this girl who is trying to kind of like almost help with this investigation that is happening. And it has to do with her father's research into this cult, which I'm pretty sure is going to be the same cult as we were introduced to in the past one. And we are just now getting another perspective from a man. I just started that chapter, so I'm not positive what exactly is happening there. But so far, I'm intrigued. I'm interested. I'm excited to see what happens. I only have like this day and part of another in Philadelphia before we fly out on Sunday. So that is going to be not enough time to read as much as I would like. But I'm really hoping to finish it. If not while I'm here, then like the first day I get back. But yesterday we went up to this part of the country, or part of Pennsylvania, where my husband's family used to live, like some of his ancestors. We went to some graveyards and found some of the graves of them, but they were like really old, like back like early 1800s, so that was kind of crazy. And then we drove around and found the farm that they used to own up there and where some of his ancestors lived. So that was really cool and had like the creepy vibes I think kind of fit well with this book. And a lot of the places around here have kind of these creepy vibes. There's a lot of like old stone churches and like statues and all this stuff. So really excited to continue reading it, and I'll update you when I've gotten a little more done because my arm is dying. I couldn't bring my tripod.
Okay, so I always feel a little awkward kind of filming in public, but I have made some progress on Nightshade, and so I thought I would update you while I'm waiting for my husband. I'm laying down a little bit just so I feel less awkward filming, but it might actually look more awkward to people, whatever. It's fine. But I wanted to give you a little bit of an update on my progress on this book. So I have been getting a little more into it, and it's like picking up on the intrigue for sure. I feel like we're starting to see a little bit more of how things might come together, and we're starting to get a little bit more of like the connections, and especially connections between the past and the present. We are getting a little bit more POVs as well, so we're starting to see different sides of it, and I really do feel like I'm putting a lot of it together. And I mean, obviously I could be wrong, but I have some theories and I'm feeling pretty confident about most of them, honestly. I just feel like I still like the present so much more. I like the atmosphere of it. I feel like I like the Gothicness of it a little bit better. I like our character better. And I don't know, I feel like the past just doesn't work for me quite as well. I find the characters a little bit irritating, and I'm not really connected to them all that much, honestly. And I also will say that I don't really actually like the romances all that much. It kind of feels like it's mostly just like tension and like attraction, like physical attraction, and I'm not really getting emotional connections between these characters. And for me personally, I really like that in relationships and books. I like to have that emotional connection, and I feel like that's something that's really like important for me to care about characters. So yeah, I don't care quite as much about the relationships. And also the one in the past, I actually feel quite uncomfortable with some of the scenes because like it's a minor. There are some spicy scenes with a minor, and it makes me feel highly uncomfortable. And it's not like some of the like high school books you'll read, right, where you can sometimes have some of those scenes in there, but they tend to be pretty like vanilla, not super in depth, maybe even fade to black, that type of thing. No, these are extremely explicit, and just the fact that this is a minor that I am reading about these types of scenes with, I don't like it. It just doesn't feel okay to me personally. So that's one thing that I definitely have an issue with. But I mean, like, there are some interesting events going on. Sorry, the lighting just changed apparently. Like, it has intrigue, and I am interested in a lot of the things that are happening. I think it's kind of funny that, you have that mysterious witch-esque lady in the woods that happens to know so many things and gives us so much information. I just think that that's such a funny, almost overused trope. I'm not mad about it, and I didn't actually dislike the use of it in this book. I thought it was fine, but I just think it's such an overused thing and kind of a random thing to happen so much in these fantasy books in particular. But that also was a thing here that I found a little entertaining. But yeah, I am intrigued. I am interested to see where we go with it, but I definitely have some issues with it. And I just feel like I'm lacking a connection. I just have like intrigue and atmosphere that I am enjoying in this book.
Okay, everyone. I am assuming that this vlog is going to go up before my vlog of my readathon that I'm doing with my niece. So I'll kind of go through. I ended up picking Nightshade as a book that I was going to read on my mini Star Hop race readathon that I'm doing with my niece. And I was about at, the high 300s page range when I decided to read this book. So I finished it on my drive home from Montana, and now I'm going to kind of be sharing my end of this book thoughts with you. I got through this book so much quicker once I decided that I would also have the audiobook. I was trying to read this book completely physically, and it was just not engaging me enough for that to be something that I was going to be able to do because my brain was not focusing well enough on it, and I needed something else to help me get through it. So getting the audiobook was a good thing for me, but honestly, I feel like this one I probably would have enjoyed more without the audiobook if it was more engaging, just because I do feel that a lot of times with these fantasy romances, I do tend to not like the audiobook as much as I like audiobooks for like high fantasy or for contemporary fiction, literary fiction. I don't know what I'm saying. Non-romance books that aren't fantasy, like thrillers or things like that. Fantasy audiobooks are not always my favorite, but this one was pretty good. This one was one of the better audiobooks for a fantasy romance, in my opinion. I overall found this book to be decent. It just felt quite average to me. Even though I did enjoy it, I had a good time, I was intrigued, I was interested in what was going on, it just wasn't that extra awesome for me personally. I liked the time in the present, I guess you would call it, but in like the other world, a lot better than the time in the past. I actually quite disliked everything that was happening in the past, and so that really influenced my enjoyment of this book. I liked the part with our main character and our main love interest in the present, right? That was the most enjoyable time to me, and I would have liked to have just that, even though I do understand the part that the past played in it, and it was very important. 100% get that. I just didn't like it. It wasn't something that I jived with or enjoyed, but I did like the present. So the second book in the series might be better for me. I don't know. This is a duology, and there is another book that I think is already out actually, but I do not know if I'm going to be continuing on because I did like how this one ended fine. I didn't feel like I needed more. I didn't really care too much about where the plot line was going after we got to the point that we were at. So I am okay if I don't continue on with this duology, but I might. I don't know. I'm quite on the fence about that. I think my favorite part of this book was kind of the setting and the atmosphere of that parallel world that we were in for a significant portion of this book. I thought it was really interesting and intriguing. I liked the different connections that were made. I enjoyed learning more about kind of the backstory of how all this was happening. I do think that there were a little bit of inconsistencies throughout the book that I noticed, and I didn't really enjoy that. It kind of frustrates me when that happens. I have noticed that it happens more in fantasy romance than in high fantasy, just because I feel like the focus of these is more on the characters and their relationships and the romance than it is on like ensuring that the fantasy world is all correct and everything is right in there. So I didn't hate it necessarily. It didn't bug me too much, but it definitely was there, and I didn't love that aspect of it. And I will say I was feeling this, I think I mentioned it a little bit in the clip before, but it definitely continued that I didn't really get as much of the buildup and the emotional attachment and the relationship between the characters in the present. There really was not a lot to work with there. I didn't really feel much between them. and I can see it more from his perspective, right? And like his emotional attachment, but I got like nothing from her. It really just felt physical. Like she had this strong physical attraction to him. And that's kind of all we were going on from her. And that wasn't something that I really enjoyed that much. I like to have build up to my relationships. I like to have more emotionally, and I just did not get that out of the relationship in this book. And again, I do understand what the author was doing there, but for me to be invested in it, I needed more than I got from the relationship in this one. I will say that I still stand by some of my complaints that I had from the previous clip, but overall, this book was fairly average for me. It was interesting and intriguing, and if that kind of atmospheric, Gothic, a little bit of like past present connections with angels and demons sounds good to you, this book might be for you. Like a ton. I think that this could be one that some people absolutely love. It just wasn't 100% perfect for me. But that is my February book from this book exchange finally done. I can't believe it took me until June, but I am so glad we finally finished it. And yeah, we did it. Whew. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.